We are staying on top of that big breaking news right now at 6. 6 days after Tuesday's midterm election, it is now official.
Your first female senator and the first Democrat in 30 years. The Associated Press has just called this for Democrat Kyrsten Sinema. Republican Martha McSally conceded on Twitter. Her campaign posted this clip showing her congratulating Sinema, saying she wishes her success and thanks everyone who supported her.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the latest numbers that came into our newsroom today, late this afternoon. Kyrsten Sinema is ahead by more than 38,000 votes. Her campaign manager releasing a statement saying that her lead is insurmountable. Obviously, Martha McSally agrees with that. Sinema is going to be giving a statement about her victory tonight at around 6:15. Of course, we're going to be carrying that statement live here on the air on 3TV. Our political editor, Dennis Welch, here in the studio now with a little bit of perspective on this.
Well, I mean, you got to say, start off by saying, as you said, first female to represent Arizona in the Senate in the state's history, the first Democrat to be elected to the upper chamber in over 30 years. This is a big moment for politically for Arizona. Maybe showing that this is a state that is changing from a rock red, ruby red state to something that's a little bit more moderate, a little bit more purple right now. I mean, this was one of the most contentious races in the country this year. This was definitely one of the most expensive races in the country this year. So a lot was on the line, a lot riding on this race, and Democrat Kyrsten Sinema is pulling it off.
Yeah, 3 of the 5 major state races now leaning towards the Democrats here. That's a big change and a big shift in our state.
Well, and now that the drama is now out of the U.S. Senate race, we know who's won that one. I think you got to start looking at the Secretary of State races where all the drama is right now. And right now, that race is a nail biter. We're talking about 5,000 votes separating Katie Hobbs from Steve Gaynor. There's the numbers right there. Now remember, Katie Hobbs came out of election night. She was 44,000 votes down on election night, and she has evaporated that lead. She has surpassed Steve Gaynor right now. And if the trends continue to hold like this, Katie Hobbs looks like she's sitting in pretty good position right now, guys.
Those numbers have narrowed more in just the last day, right?
Yeah, they have narrowed quite a bit. I remember over the weekend, like on a Sunday, Katie Hobbs had briefly taken the lead, then another batch of ballots were reported. Steve Gaynor then took the lead back, but today she's taken the lead again in this roller coaster ride, and she's leading by several thousand votes at this point. Still a lot of drama, still a lot of election left in that race right now.
All right, let's talk about the state superintendent.
The state superintendent. Let's talk about that. She is, Kathy Hoffman there has now extended her lead there. A lot of people believe that is an insurmountable lead. Kathy Hoffman, a teacher, really riding that Red for Ed movement, that momentum in that race, and carrying that on to victory. I spoke with her a little bit earlier today, and she was telling me she credited that Red for Ed movement for helping her get across the finish line. Again, another Democrat potentially taking a statewide race here.
We were at the, Nicole and I were both at the Republican headquarters on election night. A lot of the feeling from many people in the room that night was that Republicans nationwide were able to push back against a Democratic wave. What's your analysis now that we're a week out of that election and we're seeing, congressional races across the country? It looks like Democrats picking up 35 to possibly up to 40 seats in the House.
Let's look here in Arizona.
Is this the blue wave?
I think you look here in Arizona, you got a strong argument for a blue wave right now. Look, there's 11 members of the congressional delegation if you include the Senate, right? The 2 seats in the Senate, you have 9 in the Congress. The Democrats control a majority, 6 of those seats for the first time since 1967.
Wow.
Democrats have narrowed the gap in the state legislature to just 1 seat. The Senate still remains somewhat tight. You look at the race there for Sinema now, it looks like she has taken that. I mean, there's a strong argument to be made that Democrats did see a blue wave here. It may have been a little bit delayed. We may not have seen that election night, but boy, what a difference a week makes, because last week we were talking about maybe that blue wave didn't come here in Arizona. Now, strong evidence that it did hit.
Now we're going to watch real closely with great interest what happens to Senator John Kyle's seat. For the late Senator John McCain, the governor appointed John Kyle. John Kyle says he's not going to run again. So that's the big variable now. What will happen?
Yeah, and we're going to tell a lot by who he appoints, because
there's some chatter, by the way, there's some chatter about asking for him to immediately appoint Martha McSally to that seat.
And like I said, anything is possible at this point. I know that there's been a lot of chatter too about Doug Ducey potentially appointing himself. I don't think he will do that.
Right.
I think that's a near impossibility at this point. But maybe running in 2020 for a race like this, I don't know if that's going to happen. But my sense is there will be an enormous amount of pressure on the governor to think about looking at that 2020 race as the bench for Arizona. Some of the candidates out there, it's getting kind of small right now. I mean, who can run and win a statewide race at that level? Who knows?
And Secretary of State now trending Democrat, so less likely for the governor to be removed from office than then putting a Democrat into the governor's.
We saw that in 2008, 2009 when the flip side of that happened when Napolitano left to go work for the Obama administration, Department of Homeland Security.
That gave us
Jan Brewer.
All right, so we should again remind viewers that at 6:15 tonight, so in about 10 minutes or so, Kyrsten Sinema is expected to give a victorious announcement, a speech, if you will, a chance to address all of her voters as we showed Martha McSally doing. We're going to carry that live as soon as she begins.
Interesting stuff, Dennis. Thank you so much. We'll be sure to break in and bring that to you live on air, online, and on our AZ Family News app.